America, we're in distress. The stake starts now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to The Stakes. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is Michelle Kinney. We are the co-founders of the Seneca Project, and we are outraged.
Yeah.
Incensed. There are words I can't even describe what we feel right now after what happened today. As I'm sure many of you know by now, that a United States senator, the senior senator from California, was forcibly removed from a press conference with the Barbie wannabe cosplay DHS secretary, Kristi Noem, because he had the audacity, the temerity to ask questions because he couldn't get a meeting and they wouldn't answer him. So he went to a press conference in the same building he has an office in.
Yeah.
And shouted some questions at her. What happened after that? He was forcibly removed by federal agents. Not only forcibly removed after he identified himself as a United States senator, he was thrown to the ground and handcuffed. I have to tell you that I've seen a lot and I've been upset about a lot of things during this godforsaken fucking era of Donald Trump and this fascism that has been ushered in by him. But I've never seen anything like that. And given everything that we have seen prior to this, leading up to this escalation, now seeing it was bad enough last weekend. We saw active duty, National Guard and Marines now being deployed to Los Angeles, where I was over the weekend last week. I was in LA doing a TED Talk. That was bad enough. That was jarring enough. Then seeing the tanks and the howitzers and the armored vehicles being trained into Washington, D.C. in preparation for, as our beloved good friend Jojo from Jura says, for the small in the pants parade for Donald Trump this weekend, the dictator parade. That was blood curdling in and of itself. And then we have this today. I just don't know how anyone in this country can look at that display today and not say enough. Enough. The last time I felt like this was during the George Floyd protests when Donald Trump sicked federal agents on peaceful protesters in Lafayette Square in front of the White House. That's the last time I felt that. When we saw federal agents pointing guns at American citizens for protesting and violently clearing a pathway so Donald Trump could waddle his ass over for a photo op with an upside down Bible in front of a church like some 2-bit dictator to assert his power. Well, folks, this is 10 times worse. 10 times worse. And I've got to tell you, I don't want to hear anyone that told us we were overreacting, we were being hyperbolic when we said that this shit would happen if Donald Trump got reelected. Every single one of you people who voted for Donald Trump because of the price of eggs or because, you don't like the brown people down the street because you think somebody took your job.
Listen, let's
or
be
whatever
real. That's
you think, right? Whatever fucking bullshit reason that you try to rationalize why you voted for Donald Trump, I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy. I hope you're looking around at the militarization of our cities, of the arrests of our elected officials, of the skirting of the Constitution, of this bastard making a mockery of we the people. And I hope you're proud of yourselves because you people did this, not us. And it's up to us now to clean up this mess. And I hope we can.
Yeah. It's hard to find words. To tell you guys, Tara and I were on a call today with someone. We were having a great conversation, feeling really good, energized, got off the phone. I picked up, or I got off Zoom rather, picked up my phone, saw the news, and it took me a second. I was like, wait a second, what? And again, to Tara's point, we have been telling people. We were telling people before January 6th that he was going to do something violent and he was going to try to stage a coup. We knew this was going to happen.
Mhm.
And then after the fact, I mean, here's where the Republicans have failed the American people yet again. They failed to convict him, which allowed him to run for office again. So he spent 4 years lining his pockets, raising money, gaining steam, and he announced that he was going to run just like we said he was. He was going to wait until after the midterms because, he's box office poison. He's not going to be good for anybody running in the midterms. And it's, history has shown previously that Republicans used to do better during the midterms, but Democrats now do because they turn out. And he knew that. So he waited and he was the nominee, and people and donors and voters and, our friends. No, 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 no. It's not going to be them. It's not going to be Donald Trump. Don't worry. This country's not going to elect him again. Not after everything he's done. No, 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 no. The lack of imagination here, and I say this all the time, the lack of imagination is a very dangerous thing. And here we are. I really just want people to think about this. Imagine the worst thing you could possibly think of and prepare yourself for it and hope it doesn't happen, but prepare yourself. And that is the God to honest truth.
Yeah.
And we had conversations amongst ourselves before the election, leading up to the election, to our colleagues who work in cable news, to our friends who are staffers and, work as operatives in different ways. Everybody was kind of like, what are we going to do if this happens? And here we are. There are tanks in the goddamn streets.
Yep.
And they are now detaining members of Congress. Congresswoman MacGyver a couple weeks ago. Now we have a United States senator who, by the way, if people don't know, former Secretary of State of the state of California, which has the 5th largest economy in the world.
Correct.
Former state senator from California. He is a father of 3. He is beloved. Everyone likes him. He's a very nice man. He is the son of 2 immigrants, who I think, Tara, you said was
one was a maid, one was a short order cook.
Yep.
He is the American dream. He went to MIT, okay?
Yeah.
A guy from the San Fernando Valley of California, the son of 2 immigrants who came here to make a better life for themselves, and they did, because their son ended up going to MIT, became a mechanical engineer, the youngest member of the Los Angeles City Council, or County Council, City Council, I believe.
Yeah.
And at 26 years old, Secretary of State, right?
Yeah.
Or right. And then
Secretary of State, yeah.
Yeah, and now a senator from that same state.
Which is the seat that Kamala Harris held.
That is correct.
Which previously was held by Senator Boxer, who was on our advisory board.
Yes.
Who she was on MSNBC earlier this evening. She was talking to Ari Melber, and I mean, her voice was shaking.
Of course, because she was a long-time member of the Senate. She was a trailblazer in the Senate.
Yeah. And she knows him.
Yes, she does. And she sent a note. She sent a note as a former senator to John Thune, who is the current Senate Majority Leader, and basically was like, what are you going to do? This is outrageous. You need to stand behind your senator. We are a co-equal branch of government. What are you doing? And what was the response from Thune? Of course, because they all have no balls. Oh, well, we're going to stop and see. I need to see what, get more facts, and we'll look into it more to see what happened. No, I don't want to hear that. Okay.
No.
It's on video. And that bitch,
this is where they want you to.
Kristi Noem lied. Okay. She lied about what happened to the situation, called him this man. This man lunged at the podium and didn't identify himself. That, everyone, hear me when I tell you, is bullshit. He identifies himself clearly.
Yep. Actually,
in the video.
I have 2 versions of this.
Good. Let's play it.
Let's play the first one, who came from a Fox reporter who was in the room.
Alex Padilla, I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
How many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted.
And she just keeps on talking.
She just kept blabbering on. And you know why? You know why? Let me tell you a couple things about this. Do we have the other video? Another angle of
Yeah,
it?
I do. I
From
do.
the very beginning?
This is the one that was taken by his staff.
Yeah.
And if you listen carefully at the end, there are FBI agents who are the ones that the federal agents are from the FBI, and there's one member of the Secret Service, because she gets her own Secret Service detail now, which is insane.
Well,
And
she's the just for people who don't know the way it goes, because she's Secretary of Homeland Security, the Secret Service is now under the Homeland Security Cabinet Department agency. They used to be under Treasury, but then after
Right.
9/11, they all got sucked into this behemoth that became DHS. So she does get a Secret Service detail. Now, the plainclothes person you see is Secret Service, and then you see the other guys have FBI jackets on, because the FBI has an office in that building. And guess who else has an office in that building?
Yeah.
Senator Padilla. And guess who else was being escorted around by federal agents in the building? Senator Padilla. They knew who he was. Do not let them lie to you that they didn't know. They
This
knew.
man.
They knew.
And let me tell you, even if he was a Democrat, if he was a white man walking in that room, they would not be saying that. They would not be identifying him as that man or this man or whatever.
No, we know the truth. We know the real truth about
I mean,
this
these
whole
people
situation.
are stone cold racist pieces of shit monsters. Like, let's be real. Every single one of them.
Yep.
And the stain and the stain of the Trump voters, whether you are the MAGAs out there in the rallies with your red hat, or if you're the fiscal conservative who just didn't like the lady,
right?
I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't care if anybody disagrees with me, because this is just how I feel and it's what I think. Racism and misogyny is at the root of why he won. And that is it. This country at large, at least electorally on the electoral map, they hate women and people of color more than they like or love their country, their democracy, or their freedom. And that is just the God's honest truth.
How else do you explain it? 10 years of Donald Trump, 10 years of not vanquishing this guy. What else could you possibly attribute this to? I was one of the first people to say, like, I don't throw the race card easily. And, race and misogyny, I would always be like, well, sometimes I take it too far. Not anymore. After what I have witnessed and what I've experienced as someone who came from the Republican Party for 27 years and watched what it has morphed into, and then to see, after everything Donald Trump has done, every single affront to every principle that Republicans claimed that were so sacrosanct to them, they were willing to throw all of that away, all of it, for this. And there is no other explanation. I don't want to hear it's about fiscal responsibility, because the deficit ballooned under Donald Trump, and his big, beautiful boner bill is going to do the same thing. It's not about fiscal responsibility. That's bullshit. It's not about individual freedom. It's not about a smaller government. It's not about a government that doesn't infringe on your rights. I remember when freaking Republicans flipped out because Barack Obama said something about guns and Bibles. They said, that's it. The government's coming to tell us what to do with our guns and our Bibles. Never that. Come and take it. Well, you've got a federal government now that's coming in and telling you what to do in every aspect of your life. So I don't want to fucking hear any of this shit. Invasion of privacy. Hello? Have you heard of Doge and Elon Musk stealing all of our private information? I don't want to hear anything about corruption. Okay? Donald Trump is the most corrupt president to ever step foot in the White House. And Republicans sit back and say, oh, that's fine. I don't want to hear it. It's bullshit. And everybody knows it. And they're being exposed for it. Exposed. And this is what we have.
Oh, what happened? Oh, we lost Tara. She went away. Tara's been having some pretty intense internet problems today. So, I'll just, oh, here she comes. Let me put her back in.
I
was like, oh, I was like, you were on such a on a roll. The internet said too much.
Internet said too much. We've never actually had that happen. It's kind of
I
weird.
know the gremlins. The gremlins
Yes,
are here.
I don't know. It makes you wonder. But anyway, I'm just saying. Now we have this a United States senator that is now that was being thrown to the ground like some criminal, which he was not, because he dared to stand up. I am sorry, but this is out fucking outrageous. There is no excuse for this. None. And she went on Fox News and gaslit that audience. And you know, Congresswoman MacGyver was on MSNBC right before we came on.
Yeah.
And she was asked by our friends over there on MSNBC, Michael Steele's show.
Yeah.
Did any of your Republican colleagues, have they said anything about this? And she said, unfortunately, no.
Yeah. Of course not.
Now, Senator Lisa Murkowski, at least she came out and said, like, this is not the America I know.
Yeah.
At least she had something to say about it. That's great. But what are you going to do about it? I had some
comments on that. I was like, then do something.
Right, do something. But she was the one who said she was scared. She was like legitimately scared a couple weeks ago, talking about the threats that they get and the threats that MAGA. Well, you know what? You need to either put up or shut up at this point, because if you're too scared, you know what happens? Nazi Germany is what happens when you're too scared. At some point, you have to stand up and do something. And we are mirroring 1930s Germany more and more every fucking day, every day. And thank God we are going to be a part of the No Kings protest on Saturday. Michelle and I will be in Philadelphia. As a matter of fact, the show's unfortunately going to be cut a little short tonight because we have a logistical meeting at 8:00 that we have to hop on. But we wanted to make sure that we were here with you guys, because everyone I know today was very jarring, and we wanted to make sure that you knew how we felt and we could put our marker in the sand here. No mincing of words, but we will be there doing that. You have to. And if you guys feel comfortable, those who are listening, get out there and make your voices heard. Stay safe, stay peaceful, but we have to show across this country a unified force against this. This is the only thing that we as Americans can do now if our elected officials are going to abdicate their responsibility. That's why I have my little flag. It came today and I'm proud of it, but it says I'm proud not because, you know, of what's happening, but because I got it today and I can take it to the rally. But it says America is in distress. It's an upside down flag.
Yeah.
We will be at that rally decked out in American flag, everything.
I know mine came.
Our
mine
flag.
came
That's
today.
right. Michelle got hers. You know, we need to remember this is our country. This is our flag. It's our military. And those motherfuckers work for us. Kristi Noem, you work for us. You work for Senator Padilla, who represents the people. You don't get to do what you did today. And I'm glad to see that Democrats rally together rather quickly, because Congress is in session, to condemn this. And it's a damn shame.
I was impressed.
That Republicans who claim to be, you know, all about the Senate and the separation of powers and all of this have not done the same. This is a bipartisan moment. Bipartisan moment, because I tell you right now, could you imagine if any member of Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Bill Clinton's cabinet had done a fraction of this, or allowed this, or had active duty Marines in the streets against a governor? Kristi Noem, a year and a half ago at CPAC, did a whole thing about how if Joe Biden ever took over the National Guard and Title X against my wishes, at taking my command of my National Guard away, and condemn that as fascism, right? Oh, but it's okay if Donald Trump does it. Fuck you, and fuck your fucking Barbie bitch lips and your hair and your whole cosplay as being someone.
Puffy face, pillow face, bitch ass, dog
That's
killer.
Right. We'll say it. You have a problem with that? Too bad. Too bad.
Yeah,
then come and get me too, bitch. No.
It's not funny.
No.
It's just I sometimes laugh when Tara says these things, not because I think the content of what she's saying is funny. It is just the delivery sometimes is just
it's very Jersey.
Makes me laugh.
It comes out.
Yeah, sorry, Julie's dad. I don't think Julie's dad is watching, but
no,
you know, I saw somebody say this and I was like,
love it. They follow us. They follow us. I'm serious, man. I'm serious. Well, we have to take a stand.
Let me show this. Let me show this other video that was taken by his staff.
exaggerating and embellishing. Sir, hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to know
hands up.
specifically how many of our ICE agents have been docked for
On the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go, put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Unnecessary.
Other hand, sir.
This is so
insane.
unnecessary. They know who he is. What are they doing?
There's no recording allowed out here.
Fuck you. There's no recording allowed on here. You know what? Too bad. Thank God this staffer had enough sense to do this.
There's no recording allowed out here.
Oh, no recording in FBI building.
my
Oh,
boss.
but
There's no
the
recording allowed
DHS
here.
secretary can do a press conference and they can manhandle people. Fuck off.
I'm not a member of the press. There's no recording allowed. I understand that, sir. But
Yeah, but you're detaining a United States senator.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad.
Yeah. And you know, I was, to your point, I was glad to see the Democrats get up and
Me too.
rather quickly,
Yes.
because, you know, sometimes it's hard for them to get it together like this. But I have to say, I watched a clip. I don't know if you saw this on MSNBC. They just aired it before we came on, of Mike Johnson being questioned in the chambers, not or like outside the chamber or something in the hall somewhere. And they're like, what do you have to say about this? And, you know, that little Keebler MFer, you know, have you noticed is only his mouth moves? Only his mouth moves.
Yeah, like Robbie from Rudolph, right?
Oh,
Wasn't that his name? What's his name?
Yeah. Actually, that's actually a very good
Yes,
comparison.
from Rudolph. Except he was
but-
good and we
but-
liked him. He was a good little
yes,
elf.
he was
This
a,
one's
he was
an
a good
evil
elf.
little prick.
This is an evil. He's like, oh, you're an angry elf. But he said, he was like, well, you know, I thought what he did was inappropriate, blah, blah, blah. And there was a crowd of people around him. And when I tell you, people started shouting at him.
Good.
I mean,
Good.
yelling and shouting.
Good.
And, you know, I do have to say, like, there is a line that was crossed today in a January 6-y kind of way.
Yeah.
That if this doesn't wake up the American people, I don't know what will. And, you know, I sat on my couch.
Hermie. That was going to bother me.
Hermie.
Hermie. Yes.
I sat on my couch when after I saw the news, and I was trying to get a hold of you, and your internet was out.
I know. I don't know what's
like
happening
it was
today.
right. That's
Just
why we were
now.
a little bit late today.
I know.
And that just with that, but Tara's, and then I couldn't get a hold of my husband. He was at work, and I was just like, I need to talk to somebody. Oh my God. And I just sat, and I was like apoplectic. I couldn't stop crying. And I was like, I was having a visceral reaction.
That's how I felt during that George Floyd Lafayette Square thing. That I lost it with that. I lost it.
There are a few times, and like, you know, I feel like I'm a bit of an empath just in how I react to things in general.
Yeah.
I'm easily moved, but this was different. There's very few times that I have come to this.
Yeah.
And I sat on my couch and just cried because I said to my husband when I finally did get him on the phone, I was like, I feel like I'm watching my country die.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't mean to imply when I say these things that I am any more American than anybody else, but, you know, I am 3 generations removed from Irish immigrants, but I am also 8 generations removed from soldiers from the American Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And my ancestors, my great-grandfathers, direct descendants of men who have fought in every single American war since the first one, with the exception of Vietnam. That's the only one, and onward. But I feel it in my. I'm a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. I mean, that's
DAR.
amazing.
And you know, I have several actual ancestors. There's more than one, and on both sides of my family, actually. And one of them, I saw his gravestone, and the story of it tells the story of how he joined up. He was 77 years old
Wow.
and joined the militia.
It's
And that's why I
amazing.
say, like, this country was founded and has been fought for and defended by ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Mhm.
We can do hard things. It's uncomfortable. It can be at times, I hate to say it, people have lost their lives. Many, many, many people have lost their lives, or have been severely injured in the process, or have lost things, lost people. And, this moment, our generation now is being called to do the same. But unfortunately, we don't have to cross an ocean this time. We just have to look in our backyards. And
That's
like
right.
that is the most, it's hard to say.
It is.
It's hard to even say without my voice cracking.
Well, because
This
it's real.
is
It's real. And we cannot be the generation that loses American democracy.
no, not on our watch.
Cannot. We
Not
cannot.
on our
Is
watch.
is that what you wanna tell your grandkids? That you were the generation that lost democracy? I mean, I don't wanna be a part of that.
Yeah.
I don't, and that's why we do what we do. That's why we're out here on the front lines, even for the people who are unwilling to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
But it will be we the people. It
It
will.
will be. It
We
has to be.
we are the last line of defense here.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what the rest of the summer is gonna look like, but I can tell you that military in the streets
Mhm.
and Black Hawk helicopters rounding people up and all of that is I hope the American people say no.
Yeah.
We have to. If that means you're in the streets every weekend
Yeah.
or whatever it takes, but this is a whatever it takes moment for us.
Yes. Yes,
Whatever it takes.
yeah. And I do want to point out too, and I think about this too when I think about the founding of this country. And it's like this country was founded also on the backs of slaves and from stolen land of Native Americans. And like we have faults. This country has a lot of original sin and faults and ugliness. But,
Mhm.
I do think though, what's the saying about the arc of,
Oh, yeah,
history?
it's
And I
right.
always mess it up,
It's
but
it's long but
Ben
bends towards
it's
justice.
justice, right,
Yes,
right.
that's right.
And I when we know better, we do better, and I do think that every generation, at least some of us, are doing the right thing or trying to do the right thing.
Mhm.
And, the Republicans, I say this, if there's any Democrats watching this at any like in leadership anywhere, I'm gonna tell you right now, I know you know this, Republicans are not our friends. They're
Oh,
not our colleagues.
no.
They are our opposition. We are at war. We are at
Yeah.
war with ourselves in a fight for the soul and the freedom of this country. And if you can't get behind that, and here's another thing, people with platforms. Like I have friends who are influencers who do all kinds of different things. And it is outrageous to turn on my phone and open Instagram and see them like doing stuff about like putting stuff on their walls and stuff. And like, I understand we need reprieve, but we're out here trying to pretend that this isn't happening. Like, if you're not using your platform and risking losing followers or whatever it is to speak truth to power and to rally people and to say, because courage is contagious. And if you
Correct.
can be courageous, then the next person can be, and the
That
next
is
person can be.
absolutely right.
People, protesting, like, it sucks. Like, I don't want to go out and do, I mean, it's not fun is what I mean. Like, it's not like, ooh, yay, I get to go out and this is awful. I don't
Yeah.
want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to
Right.
sit at home with my cats, but we
Right.
can't. We
Right.
can't.
No, we cannot. And as we close the show tonight,
Yeah.
it reminds me of a few things, but my great-grandparents came here from Germany in the 1920s
Yeah.
because they were German Jews, and they saw what was starting to happen there. And the
Yeah.
brown shirts tried to recruit my grandfather's brother,
Mm.
and they said, "Oh, no. No, no, we're out of here." And they left and came through Ellis Island and established their new life in America in my wonderful hometown of Paramus, New Jersey. My biological father's parents
Mm.
came through as political refugees when the Guatemalan Revolution was happening in the
Wow.
50s,
I didn't know
okay?
that.
This is, you know, important to stand for what this country was supposed to be, a beacon of hope and refuge for people leaving oppressive governments to come here.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if I'm going to let this country turn into everything we claim to despise. We can't let it happen. We still have a window of opportunity to stop this.
Listen, and it's closing. Like, I mean, we're running out of
quickly.
time.
That's
But
true.
I will say, I saw a woman on Threads last night. She wrote a whole thread about how she had lived in her lifetime, and she was an older woman, I think, in 2 different countries that both had like coups and authoritarianism. And she said there was silence. There was like a silence about it where people just like that, they just went along with it.
Yeah.
And she's like, and that is the difference. She's like, and I want
right.
people to know that, like, being in the United States right now, I sense a difference. And like,
Yeah.
but you're in control of that.
Correct.
Like, it's up to us. Like, it's just not going to automatically happen. We can't sit here and just wait for somebody else to do it.
That's right. We cannot. We cannot.
Yeah.
This is, as someone said in the comments, a breaking the glass moment. We are in distress. It is a Mayday signal. We're sending it out. And hopefully many, 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 many Americans feel the way we do and will make their voices heard. So on that note.
And so, bring out your American flags. Bring out, I know, your red, white, and blue this weekend. It's important.
That's right. Decked out.
Yeah.
Because it's our country. It's our flag.
Yeah.
Not his, not
That's
theirs.
right.
It's ours. So do what you can do. We're gonna play out the promo for this.
Well, I'm gonna
weekend.
play out Malcolm's. I'm gonna play out ours, and then we're gonna say goodbye. So, and I'll be a little late to this call, Tara, but
I'll see you there.
Thank you guys. Please be safe this weekend.
Our country, our flag, not theirs. No kings.
That's right. That's right. See y'all later.
Be safe, everybody.
This combat veteran swore an oath to the Constitution, not a lying dictator. I'm part of a coalition that is calling for June 14th to be the single largest day of protest in American history. It's the second American Revolution. It is peaceful. It is people power. That we decide as the people. That we have no kings ever. And that's what June 14th is. No King's Day. I'm asking every person here to commit themselves, their family, their friends, and most importantly, their children. I love this country. I'm begging you, commit to saving this country. Turn out your friends on June 14th. Turn out your relatives. We are the people. We are the people.
I am the chosen one.
President Trump posted, "Long live the king."
We don't take an oath to a king. We take an oath to the Constitution.
I am the chosen one.
President Trump posted, "Long live the king."
We don't take an oath to a king. We take an oath to the Constitution.